There's certainly no shortage of facts to cover when it comes to Cartoon Network's newest short series, Infinity Train, but we're gonna have to cut it off at 107 because if we went and did the whole infinite facts route, we would be here for a pretty long time. Be warned, there are gonna be some spoilers in this video, not too many at the beginning, but I am gonna awkwardly warn you of some pretty major story spoilers down the line, so if you haven't seen Infinity Train and have like an hour or two to go watch it, you should go do that. It's one of the best new shows of the year. And besides, 107 Facts is only the second most anticipated return of 2019 behind Infinity Train. No sense in dragging this out any longer. I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and this is 107 Facts about Infinity Train.
Fact number 1. Infinity Train was first conceptualized by series creator Owen Dennis back in 2010 while riding a plane home to the United States after visiting China. While on his flight, he began wondering what would happen if a girl were to be trapped on a plane. This thought would eventually blossom into the series we know today. Number 2. The plane setting was eventually scrapped as, quote, there wasn't a lot to explore in the setting of a plane. The setting was later changed to a train. I'm also wondering what an infinity plane would look like. I'm gonna try to come up with something while I'm editing this, and it probably looks like a nightmare. Number 3. Dennis first got his start working on regular show where he was a writer and storyboard artist from 2013 all the way up to its finale in 2017. He actually wrote part 2 of the finale, so we should have known that he was gonna be able to torture us emotionally. Number 4. Way before Infinity Train was pitched, Dennis initially conceived it as a movie. However, he changed it to be a series after considering that Cartoon Network might want that instead. And hey, it may have taken Cartoon Network a while to warm up to it, but in the end, he wasn't wrong. Number 5. Infinity Train was pitched in the same year that Dennis began working on regular show as part of Cartoon Network's Comedy Shorts program. He wrote and storyboarded the pitch himself. 2013 was apparently a great year for him. Number 6. After pitching the initial idea, the executives at Cartoon Network feared that the series would be too similar to Over the Garden Wall, which was at the time called Tome of the Unknown. Because it hadn't aired yet, that's how long Infinity Train's been in development. Number 7. Cartoon Network eventually greenlit the pilot for Infinity Train after finding Over the Garden Wall and Infinity Train to be pretty different. However, Dennis did change a few plot points for Infinity Train after watching through Number 8. He also held some fears about Infinity Train being compared to the films Galaxy Express 999 and Snowpiercer, which came out the same year that production had begun on the pilot. Not to mention the Adventure Time episode Dungeon Train, which shares a lot of superficial similarities to the concept of Infinity Train. Though Dennis says both this episode and Infinity Train were probably conceived around the same time. Number 9. On top of that, he was even worried about calling it Infinity Train at all since it shared a word with AJ's Infinite Summer, another Cartoon Network short that debuted around the same time. Number 10. Dennis was able to finally overcome these fears, stating, there are certain ideas just sitting there plucked up by anyone who feels like they want to do something with it. The most you can do is just keep making the thing you're trying to make with the voice you want to make it in. Number 11. Infinity Train's pilot was released on the Cartoon Network app and video on demand on November 1st, 2016, and then onto YouTube the next day. Within its first month online, the pilot gained over 1 million views. Number 12. As of the creation of this video, the pilot has over 4.7 million views, making it the most viewed original short on Cartoon Network's channel, followed by Welcome to My Life and 12 Forever, which also recently made its debut as a full series on Netflix. Number 13. The pilot was so popular that a petition was started to convince Cartoon Network to greenlight the series. It gained 57,000 signatures. It also prompted people to spam greenlight Infinity Train for any other original pilot on their channel, which, I mean, I love the enthusiasm, but maybe we should give other cartoons a chance to make a good first impression. Number 14. In March of 2018, Cartoon Network officially announced that Infinity Train had been picked up for a full series with a really cool and ominous teaser on their website. I think most of us were in disbelief when we saw it just because of the amount of radio silence we had been given on the matter. Number 15. In June of 2019, a full trailer for the series could be unlocked on the Infinity Train website by playing the show's main theme. It was a really awesome idea and a cool reward for those who discovered it. Of course, it was released for everyone on YouTube within an hour of its discovery. Number 16. On July 20th, 2019, the first full episode of Infinity Train debuted at San Diego Comic-Con. The full 10-episode series later ran from August 5th until August 9th. Number 17. The series was conceived as a short 10-episode series, much like Over the Garden Wall. The decision was made in order to allow the team to have more freedom regarding the tone and emotional core. This is yet another way that the two series are closely connected. Number 18. Speaking of Over the Garden Wall, Nick Cross, the art director of the series, was also the art director on Infinity Train. Explains those beautiful backgrounds we got in the series, among everything else. Number 19. Keeping the garden wall connections going, the frog eraser on the tip of Tulip's pencil in the pilot is said to be the same frog from Over the Garden Wall. That's right, the one and only Jason Funderburker. In the series, though, this was replaced with an onion. Tulip has a weird fixation with onions, but more on that later. Number 20. Much like Tulip, Owen Dennis created his own video games as a teenager, such as point-and-click games and mods for Half-Life 2 and Unreal Tournament 2004. Number 21. In his point-and-click games, Dennis would constantly be thinking of which rooms would connect to each other, an idea that would resurface eventually in Infinity Train. Really, it's one big dungeon crawl. Number 22. Dennis has stated that the puzzle adventure game MYST was one of the primary influences in his early teens and continued to inspire him for Infinity Train. Number 23. Speaking of games, the game that Tulip programmed, Good Guys Poppin' Bad Guys, was one of Dennis's creations as a teenager, though the code that appears in the show is different than Dennis's workflow back in the day, stating in a Reddit AMA that he coded the original game in Visual Basic, while the code in the show is something like C# or Java. Number 24. Aside from video games, Dennis has cited Doctor Who, The Neverending Story, The Matrix, Star Trek Voyager, and Sliders as heavily influencing Infinity Train. Number 25. Doctor Who's influence can easily be seen, combining the connecting rooms with infinite time and space. Many of the train cars are bigger on the inside. Easy jokes, we got them. Number 26. On the literary side of things, the works of Agatha Christie and Philip K. Dick inspired his future series, as well as the novels Nightbirds on Nantucket and The Wolves of Willoughby Chase. Number 27. With these inspirations in mind, let's talk about Tulip, the super smart 12-year-old and protagonist of Infinity Train. Some might say she's a little too smart for an average 12-year-old, but not to me, and Dennis agrees, saying that Tulip has advanced 12-year-old logic, because the rest of us were just basic. Number 28. Tulip's design changed significantly between the pilot and the full series, with her glasses becoming angular and her skin tone becoming slightly more tan than full-on white. Her head is also rounder as she sported a more pointed chin in the pilot. Number 29. Tulip's character designer, Ira Schleiterman van Lagerweide, which that's the best I can do after 10 takes, I'm sorry, was contacted by Owen and his team to produce some designs. The Tulip we all know and love was chosen from her samples. Number 30. When translating Ira's design to the series, Tulip was kept simple so it would be easier to draw her from multiple angles. Number 31. Orange tulips, like the actual flowers, are often associated with fascination, energy, enthusiasm, and desire. And yes, they are indeed perennial. Number 32. On his Tumblr, Dennis claimed that Tulip's full name is Tulip Beetlejuice Van Helsing, but according to the series, her full name is actually Tulip OLSEN, which, I get it, but I'm kind of bummed that that other name isn't canon anymore. Number 33. Dennis created Tulip to be curious and direct, with an emphasis on logic. You can see this in her programming background and the way she tries to apply logic to the improbable things that she encounters on the train. Number 34. Tulip is based on an amalgamation of Dennis's friends, but aged down to 12, of course. Number 35. Like I mentioned before, Tulip loves eating raw onions. As a small child, she wanted to eat part of a raw onion that her parents cut up, and they knew that she wouldn't like it, but not wanting to deal with the stubborn child, they just let her have it as a teaching moment. However, she refused to admit that she didn't like it, and over the years has kind of forced herself to actually like them, and now she eats them like apples. Ugh. Number 36. Divorce is a central subject in the series, as at the beginning of the show, Tulip's parents had recently gone through a divorce. Two of the writers on the series have parents that had gotten divorced, and their experiences were instrumental in writing Tulip's emotions and journey from a realistic perspective. Number 37. Cartoon Network actually encouraged the divorce subplot. In initial pitches, Dennis and the team used the term separated as they thought that Cartoon Network wouldn't want to go near such a touchy subject. To their surprise, they said, we should just say it. Just go all in on the divorce and really go in depth on it. Good on Cartoon Network for not shying away from these things. Number 38. Dennis has gone on record stating that he believes that darker themes should be present in kids shows, as he believes that kids should be given the tools to be able to sort out these complicated feelings. As if you didn't know that from watching the show already! Number 39. He's also stated that cartoons are a very safe way to experience fear. This is why spooky themes can be found throughout Infinity Train. Number 40. Tulip lives in Minnesota, near where Dennis grew up. Aside from his obvious connection, he wanted to showcase an area of the country that doesn't get much representation. Number 41. As of the end of the miniseries, Owen Dennis has made it very clear that Tulip does not have a boyfriend. That's cool, she's got other stuff to focus on, she's been through a lot. Number 42. Tulip's voice actor, Ashley Johnson, is also known for her notable roles as Tara from Teen Titans, Gwen from Ben 10, and Ellie from The Last of Us, which is actually the role that Dennis had in mind when casting her. I mean, she was also Gretchen on Recess, but is my age showing? Is that reaching too far back these days? Number 43. According to character audition sheets for the Cat and Randall, Infinity Train voice acting director direction was meant to be realistic and grounded rather than something more cartoony, for lack of a better word. Number 44. Useless fun fact, even though that's what this whole video is, Tulip OLSEN is an anagram for lentil soup. Dennis was not aware of this, and his mind was as blown as ours. Number 45. Let's spend a little time talking about Infinity Train's cutest robot, 1-1. The two units of 1-1 are referred to as Sad 1 and Glad 1 by the production staff, but they are very much one single brain. Number 46. And if you haven't watched the show but don't mind being majorly spoiled on key elements of the series, that's fine, but if you don't want to be spoiled, I'm going to give you a couple seconds here while I stall for you to pause the video. Okay, here we go. Regarding 1-1, I don't think any of us who saw the original pilot ever thought that the sassy robot would turn out to be the true conductor of the Infinity Train. Number 47. 1-1's Sad 1 side is voiced by Owen Dennis himself, putting on his worst, or I guess maybe best, Alan Rickman impression, undoubtedly taking inspiration from Rickman's performance as the depressed robot Marvin in the 2005 Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy film. Criminally underrated movie, by the way. Number 48. Glad 1 is voiced by Jeremy Crutchley, a British actor with a wide range of theater, film, and TV credits to his name, with roles in notable shows like Black Sails and Hannibal. Number 49. Many actors made Glad 1 sound stupid in their auditions. Crutchley was chosen because his version of Glad 1 is thoughtful, even though what he's saying is absurd. Number 50. One of Crutchley's favorite parts about voicing Glad 1 is being able to break into song. Well, tuneless singing, specifically. Strong Gurr vibes coming from this one. Number 51. Crutchley actually auditioned for both Glad 1 and Sad 1 and was almost certain that he would have been cast as the latter. Number 52. Sad 1 is left-handed, which correlates with the medieval notion that the left hand is the hand of deviance, sadness, and destruction, whereas the right hand is usually seen as the hand of prosperity and happiness. And as someone who's right-handed, I question that interpretation. Number 53. 1-1 appears in Crossover Nexus, a massive Cartoon Network crossover episode of OKKO, along with many other iconic characters from Cartoon Network history. Number 54. 1-1 also appears in the background of an episode of Villainous, one of Cartoon Network's miniseries. There he is, just squeezed into the back there. Number 55. The Infinity Train logo was redesigned for the full series to be more in line with how 1-1 looks when he's split apart. Additionally, the doors on the train share the same design, alluding to the fact that 1-1 is the true conductor. Number 56. Dennis believes that good sci-fi design comes from simplicity. Many of the droids from Star Wars exemplify this ideology and were a big inspiration on 1-1's design. Number 57. 1-1 was designed to be a foil to Tulip's fluctuating moods. Having both a Glad 1 and a Sad 1 means that there's always someone to act counter to her. Number 58. Moving on to the rest of the crew. Atticus is a cardigan Welsh corgi directly inspired by Dennis's pet corgi he had as a child. His love of corgis continues to this day. And really, whose doesn't? Number 59. In fact, his love of corgis grew into an entire world known as Corginia in one of the train cars. Number 60. One day while Dennis was drawing with his girlfriend, he asked her what he should draw. She replied, "How about a corgi?" And that simple drawing would eventually inspire Atticus. Number 61. Atticus is voiced by the incredibly talented Ernie Hudson, who's best known for his role in the beloved 80s classic, Jerry Close in St. Elsewhere. Oh, sorry. Ghostbusters. He played Winston in Ghostbusters. Number 62. Hudson tried to capture the essence of his own dog while voicing Atticus, a dog who is, quote, very brave but will still run away all while barking over his shoulder. Number 63. According to Dennis, while Atticus is off adventuring through the train cars with Tulip, Corginia's democratically elected parliament runs the kingdom. Number 64. Episode 3, The Corgi Car, is a complete remake of the pilot, with a few added jokes and dialogue changes in order for it to fit the context of the show. Watching both side by side really showcases how much of the pilot was left untouched. Number 65. But who are the artists behind this incredibly creative show? The primary group of storyboard artists that worked on Infinity Train were Jesse Wong, Sam Spina, Sophie Alexander, Kelly Perdue, and Ryan Pequin. Number 66. Before working on Infinity Train, Jesse Wong was a storyboard artist on Hey Arnold the Jungle Movie and Pinky Malinky. Number 67. After college, Ryan Pequin began working on his own comic strip titled 3-Word Phrase. He would later go on to be a storyboard artist on Regular Show before working on Infinity Train. Number 68. Much like Pequin, Sam Spina got his start on Regular Show as a writer and storyboard artist before Infinity Train. Seems like Regular Show is where Owen Dennis met a lot of his future team. Number 69. Sophia Alexander is known for her pre-Infinity Train work on the 2016 Powerpuff Girls reboot as a storyboard revisionist, and as a storyboard artist on Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters, and Invader Zim Enter the Florpus. Number 70. Kelly Perdue worked as a freelance storyboard artist on the recent Ben 10 reboot as well as the current Spider-Man animated series. Since working on Infinity Train, she's gone on to to board for Craig of the Creek and is currently working on an unannounced project at Cartoon Network. Number 71. The world of Infinity Train wouldn't be complete without its synthy soundtrack. Dennis asked Chrome Canyon, real name Morgan Z, the composer for the series, to channel John Carpenter and Vangelis, two notable synth composers. Shouldn't have been too difficult, as Vangelis in particular was one of Chrome Canyon's primary influences as a musician himself. Number 72. Dennis was incredibly nervous to meet Chrome Canyon, whom he was a big fan of. Thankfully, he had nothing to fear since it turns out that Mr. Canyon is a really nice guy. When deciding on the direction of the score, Dennis would give Chrome Canyon a melody or tonal piece of music so that he'd have something to go off of and build upon. Number 73. Dennis actually composed the song in the first episode, as well as the piece that plays when Tulip meets the conductor, but Chrome turned it up and made it, quote, crazy good. Number 74. The song that Tulip sings in episode 4, The Crystal Car, is not an original piece, but the real-life 1986 hit song Word Up by the funk band Cameo. I also got embarrassingly excited when I recognized the song. Whatever, it's a bop, and LeVar Burton's in the music video. Number 75. According to supervising director Madeline Carapel, the initial idea was to have Tulip sing a variety of fake songs, like the obvious Zeppelin-themed My Heart Will Go On spoof. They then thought it would have been hilarious to just have a real song be at the very end. And this was only meant as a joke between the crew, but the more they thought about it, the more it made sense, and that's how Cameo's song was added. Though the jury's still out on why they chose such an 80s deep cut like Word Up. Not that I'm complaining. Number 76. The song can also be heard in episode 5, The Cat's Car, during the flashback to Tulip's road trip with her parents, which checks out as Tulip describes the song in The Crystal Car as some song my family used to sing on road trips. It's about dancing or something. Number 77. Tulip and her buds encounter new challenges in each train car they enter. Let's go through some of the references and lore that pops up throughout their adventure. In episode 1, The Grid Car, 1-1 sings a very copyright-friendly version of the Benny Hill theme tune while Tulip is running away from the Goms. Goms? Gomes? Goms. Number 78. After setting her reflection free in the chrome car, Tulip is seen without a reflection in the finale while walking around back in her normal life. Very interesting. Number 79. Like the pilot it was based on, the Corgi car has been confirmed to take place during November. Number 80. It seems like Tulip spent 5 months on the train, given that the epilogue takes place 7 months later, and Tulip is finally going to the camp that she missed out on the previous year. Number 81. For all you concerned fans, Dennis has confirmed that there is food and water on the train, we just don't see it, though food is mentioned as Tulip leaves the straight-up Italy car. But then Dennis also put down the question of, where are the bathrooms? I don't know, Owen, isn't that up to you? Number 82. Dennis and Madeline Carapel have confirmed that time does not pass differently on the train. It shares the same clock with our normal, non-Infinity Train dimension time. Number 83. One could make the argument that the train isn't actually infinite since it has a clear starting point, that being the engine, but infinity is kind of a vaguely defined term and there are very different interpretations of the concept. For instance, there are an infinite amount of numbers between 0 and 1, despite that range having a finite beginning and end. Number 84. In keeping with the whole the train is real life thing, Dennis and Carapel confirmed that if you die on the train, you die in real life. But hopefully we won't see any deaths. It was hard enough watching that thing happen to Atticus. Number 85. In early art of the train, each car was stamped with the train's insignia, but this was removed for the original pilot. Number 86. The insignia was an Ouroboros, an ancient symbol originating in Egypt depicting a snake or dragon eating its own tail. For the show, the Ouroboros was refashioned into an infinity symbol with a waning gibbous moon above it. Number 87. The train is shown to have a valve gear, which is typically used in steam locomotives. However, it lacks a piston, meaning that it's unknown whether or not the train runs on diesel or steam. Or maybe it's just magic at this point. Number 88. The overall look of the train is inspired by Russian and Chinese brutalist architecture. Number 89. In episode 9, The Past Car, we're introduced to the conductor's true form, a woman named Amelia Hughes, who's constantly trying to create new realities on the train to bring back her deceased husband, Ulrich. She could actually be seen in her robotic suit all the way back in the first episode, hiding in the background of the snow car. Number 90. Amelia is voiced by Lena Headey, best known for her role as Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones, yet another calculating, intimidating villain. Number 91. While in her robotic suit, Amelia is voiced by Matthew Rhys, who also voices her deceased husband Ulrich. This is because the suit that she wears is based off a robotic mask that Ulrich had made in the past. Number 92. Rhys is probably best known for his Emmy Award-winning performance as Philip Jennings in The Americans. Number 93. Matthew Rhys also voices Aloysius, the Turtle Emperor of the Unfinished Car. Given Amelia's motives and her role as the creator of said car, it's possible that this was a failed attempt at creating a new version of Ulrich. Hey, you think Aloysius is a JoJo's reference? Number 94. Episode 8, The Ball Pit Car, features a reference to The Office. In the beginning of the episode, when the group is going through the business chart car, Tulip loudly proclaims, "I declare bankruptcy!"
bankruptcy!
Much like Michael Scott does in The Office.
I declare bankruptcy!
Let's hope she has a better understanding of that concept than Michael does. Number 95. In the finale, The Engine, Tulip can be seen reading a book titled The Sweet Life of Math and Coding, a reference to the Disney Channel show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I just groaned reading that out loud. Number 96. According to Owen Dennis, Randall did go on to become a successful entrepreneur, so hooray for him. Number 97. Speaking of Randall, he's voiced by Rhys Darby, best known for his role as Murray Hewitt in Flight of the Conchords. Number 98. In the lead up to the series release, Dennis became aware of a continuity error that came dangerously close to slipping through the cracks. So what was this fatal blunder? This accident of the ages? He mistakenly put a space between Osh and Kosh. It was fixed just a few hours before the deadline. Unfortunately, this error was included in the initial trailer for the full series. Number 99. The cat was jokingly given the name Kate Mulgrew in a Reddit AMA, referencing her voice actress Kate Mulgrew. Mulgrew starred as Captain Janeway in Star Trek Voyager, and more recently as Red in Orange is the New Black. Owen approved of the fan name, seemingly canonizing it. As in, making it canon, not making it a saint. I don't think Dennis has the authority to do that. Number 100. Dennis has stated that episode 6, the unfinished car, was the easiest to complete. As for the hardest, well, they each had their own unique challenges. Number 101. One scrapped episode of the series would have followed 1-1 being replaced with a doppelganger that would later hatch into a cowbird. Tulip takes it back to its mother, where 1-1 is hanging out acting like nothing happened. When Tulip asks the cowbird mom why she switched them out, she says, "Sometimes stuff just happens." Tulip's all like, "What?" And then the cowbird whispers again, "Sometimes stuff just happens." So yeah, moral of the story, sometimes stuff just happens. As Dennis and Carapel said, this was an episode that was almost made. Number 102, the creators had to scrap a lot of ideas for train cars, including a mail car and a slot car. Hopefully we'll see more of those in the future. Number 103, one of the cars that did make it onto the show, the ball pit car, is Dennis's favorite, and the cat car is Carapel's favorite. Number 104, one of the most speculated on aspects of the series was the number counting down on Tulip's hand, something that the show itself had no trouble reminding us of. Dennis confirmed that a fan correctly guessed the number's meaning before it was revealed on the show. You know that internet, nothing gets by them. Number 105, remember all that video game talk from earlier? Well, Owen Dennis and Maddie Carapel are both very open to creating an Infinity Train video game. Do you see it as a point-and-click adventure or a puzzle game? Let us know what sort of Infinity Train game you'd play. Number 106. They also really want to make a comic series about exploring the train cars that weren't shown in the first series. Given how many other Cartoon Network shows get comic book spin-offs, we wouldn't be surprised to see this one come true in the near future. And fact number 107. Infinity Train will return for another season. That caught a lot of us by surprise, but it's the best kind of surprise there is. But as of recording this video, it's unknown whether this will be a true Season 2 to Tulip's story or if it'll feature an all-new protagonist. I've been Jacob with Channel Frederator. Thanks for sticking around for all of our 107 facts about Infinity Train. And if you want more videos diving into the lore of cartoons, subscribe to Channel Frederator. And as always, Frederator loves you.